Web3.TV.
Hello and welcome to Web3 TV. I'm Lisa Amnegard, and today we're at the Dubai AI Festival. Joining me right now is Kaustubh Wagle, Managing Director of BCG. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me, Lisa.
And you just got off the stage, so can you tell me a little bit about what you guys were talking about and the key takeaways from your panel discussion?
With pleasure. The panel was about Gen AI 2.0, the next frontier of artificial intelligence.
So can you tell me a little bit, what is Gen 2.0, Gen AI 2.0?
So look, the panel was very fascinating, first of all. We had panelists from academia all the way to startups. So Gen AI 2.0, and it's best to explain this versus Gen AI 1.0. So in 1.0, you had single step, single task, humans asking for insights from the data that they had or the questions that they have. Now, when you go to 2.0, what you find is there is a variety of different modes, right? So you have video, you have text. So there's a multimodal technology that also involves multiple steps of reasoning. So deep reasoning, deep thinking. So that's one of the distinguishing factors of Gen AI 2.0. And so that's something that we talked at length about. Now, other things we talked about in the panel were around where is this technology headed, right? How can AI get into even more advanced reasoning? How can AI get into analyzing video using this plethora of data around videos? I mean, just think about all the videos out there on YouTube. How can you use all of that data, all of those videos to really train the AI engine so that you can deploy that in very fascinating commercial applications? Think about robotics, right?
Yeah.
Robots can then self-learn the whole physics and the aerodynamics and then just learn how to behave in this world, right? So there were some very practical, fascinating applications we talked about. And then the final point, Lisa, that we talked about was around where UAE is playing a role to shape the future of AI. And clearly, UAE is taking a very leading role here.
And what's your opinion on that?
On this point, look, I do believe that this is a fantastic opportunity. This is an area that we like to call deep tech. And clearly, deep tech has two differentiating factors that make it different from any kind of technology. Number one, it requires a large amounts of capital to fund the advanced technology that is required. And second is it requires sustained patient capital. And clearly, you can see that in this part of the world, in Middle East, including UAE, both factors are very adequately met. So there is a lot of capital that's flowing into AI. You see a lot of news in UAE, but also in neighboring Saudi Arabia, as well as there's a lot of patient capital that's being funded by the sovereign wealth funds of the world. So I am a firm believer that UAE and the region are very well positioned to take a leading role here.
Which is one of their ambitions for 2030, to become a global AI leader, right?
Absolutely.
And at BCG, you advise companies from all over the world. So how are you helping companies harness AI in their workflows?
That's a great question. Look, AI is something that you need to look at across what we call the AI stack. At the bottom of the stack, you have the chipsets and the data centers. One layer above, you have platforms such as, you hear things like LLMs, large language models. And above that, you have application layer, right? AI applications. And I'm just obviously trying to simplify this for the audience. But BCG is playing a role across the stack. We are helping governments, we're helping enterprises really harness the power of AI across the stack. So be it helping set up AI data centers, really understanding what the demand is for AI and really articulating what that data center capacity requirements are. How should you build an AI data center? What kind of cooling technology is required? And all the technology around building that. When it comes to large language models, we are also very actively involved in advising governments on the nuances of building LLMs for the specific regions. local language is very important to really understand the nuances of the text that you're interpreting. And then when you talk about the layer above, this is the application layer, the services layer. Here is also a very exciting space where we are very actively advising our clients on really figuring out where should they go and deploy new applications. In fact, we are also very actively going to market together in building and serving the enterprises with AI applications. And we do this with our fully owned subsidiary called BCGX, which is pretty much an AI and ventures company.
Which I think is really important because there's just so many applications these days when it comes to AI. And it's really difficult for companies to know which ones will enhance their workflows and businesses and which will maybe, let's say, cost the company more money and not provide the revenues or the outcome that they hope to, right? So I think that's one of the main challenges right now for companies.
100%. That's a very thoughtful comment. You clearly have been doing this for a while. No, absolutely. And I think this is exactly the challenge, right? Really understanding where the applications move the needle, where should they invest, where should they not. And 100% fully agree with you.
And when it comes to just AI, so BCG deals with consulting. And when I remember when ChatGPT, or I think when one of the more advanced AI models came out, people were saying that we don't need consultants anymore. So my question to you is, how is AI helping your business?
Look, this is a great question. AI is helping us tremendously, and I would give you a two-sided view on this. So first and foremost, we already talked about how AI has helped us expand into new areas. So we are now very actively advising our clients on what does AI mean for them, how can they take advantage of AI and all the opportunities it presents, how do they navigate the challenges and the risks, and how do they stay relevant. So as you can imagine, navigating this A, complex, and B, fast evolving tech landscape requires very thoughtful advisory, and that's exactly what BCG does. So that's how it's helped us from a client perspective. On the delivery side, where we are advising and where our consultants are providing these thoughtful answers, we are also leveraging AI to advance the thinking, to push the thinking. And this is exactly one of the areas where a human in the loop is extremely important. I believe, look, advisory is here to stay. And in fact, this was one of the topics we talked about in the panel, where domain expertise will always stay relevant, right? You will go from humans driving AI in a very passive way to autonomous AI agents, the whole world of agentic AI. But now where we are is there are applications that require humans in the loop, as they say. But there will always be a need for the human to bring that domain expertise, to bring that thoughtful perspective on what the AI has to offer. So look, in a nutshell, then that's my response. But it's only been extremely helpful for BCG and our clients.
Yeah, so it's enhancing your consultants to do a better job rather than replacing their job.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, it's been really interesting, and thank you so much for speaking with me. And I'm excited to learn more about what BCG will be doing with AI in the future.
Thank you, Lisa. It was a pleasure.
I'll be bringing you more interviews. My name is Lisa Amnegard, and you're watching Web3 TV.
Web3.tv